everyone, welcome to my first Gear Talk video. I've been meaning to get around to making one of these videos for a while now. I've been putting up covers on YouTube for several years, but really wanted to do a rig rundown sort of video, and so I've decided to make one today, and I've decided to choose my main guitar that I use for 95% of just about everything I'm involved in, and it is a 2017 Gibson SG Custom in ebony. So this model was part of a special run of guitars that that was dressed up to look like a Black Beauty Les Paul Custom. So they did that for the SG, the Firebird, the Explorer, and the Flying V. I don't know about the rest of them, but the SG Custom is now a standard offering, and it's no longer a limited edition. It follows the aesthetics of a Les Paul Custom, including the ebony fretboard with mother of pearl inlays, block inlays, the multi-ply bound headstock decal with mother of pearl logo and split diamond inlays. So let me go through the specs real quick of this guitar. So like any other SG, it's a solid mahogany body and a solid mahogany neck. Now the fretboard on this one, because of the year, is actually Richlite instead of ebony. I've had both ebony and Richlite guitars, and I think there is definitely a difference, but it's not night and day. I'd say Richlite is a bit snappier, and it's definitely smoother feeling. But this one in particular is kind of unique because the slab of Richlite used is actually made to look like real wood. There's striations and things that kind of look a bit like pores, but it's not. I reached out to both Gibson and Richlite themselves just to verify, and Richlite came back saying that it was indeed a slab of Richlite that was made to look like wood. So that's kind of cool because my other Richlite guitars don't have that. Just like any other SG, 2-volume, 2-tone, 500K audio taper pots, orange drop capacitors on the tone pots. I did put in push-pull to take advantage of coil splitting capabilities. The pickups I have on it is a 490R and 490T pickup. I just replaced the bridge pickup from the 498T to the 490T. I find that the 490T is a bit livelier. It's less shrill in applications and less compressed. I find these pickups to be a great complement to an SG body because they are wound a bit hotter. They have a bump in the lows and a bump in the upper mid-range. And it kind of helps out because I find in my experience that a lot of SGs I've had has a weird sort of scoopiness to the mids, or there's some EQ thing going on in the mids that I don't quite like compared to like a Les Paul. And it does lose quite a bit of low end because of how thin the body is. And so this helps kind of bridge the gap between the Les Paul and the SG tone. And with the coil splitting capabilities, it's incredibly versatile. You can really do anything, and everything. The other modification I did was I put on lightweight hip shot locking tuners, and they are about the weight of a Kluson tuner, so quite a bit lighter than the stock Rovers, and it's just to help with neck dive. Moving forward, I put a Tusk nut on instead of the nylon nut, and I think Tusk is great because it's naturally lubricated and it sounds excellent. The main modification, as you can see, that I've done to this is the Floyd Rose FRX tremolo system. What the FRX system is a surface mounted Floyd Rose unit. And what you can do is that you can mount it with the supplied post to the holes of a stop bar or stop tailpiece guitar. It theoretically is completely reversible, and there's no modification that is needed. The only modification that's needed is you have to screw in this locking nut mechanism on top here. So there's 2 screw holes there, but other than that, there's nothing else you have to do. This unit has proven to be an excellent unit. It does everything a Floyd Rose does. All the harmonic stuff. It does the floppy strings things. And it has that tonality of a Floyd Rose unit, and it has a sustain of a Floyd Rose unit, and it just works really well. Now this particular model actually has a thumb wheel that you can set to block the Floyd from going upwards, and so you can do double stops without the other string going out of tune. As good as this is, it took a bit of finagling to get it on this guitar because custom shop SGs have quite a bit of a shallower neck angle than what's found on like a production line Gibson USA SG. And so I could not get this down to the height I needed it without bottoming out. So I did actually have to route out some wood or route out a channel to get this to work. The locking nut mechanism also is a special unit because the Les Paul Custom decal is actually thicker than the standard decal, and so this was sitting essentially above the pre-existing nut, so the strings were not seated on that nut. So the specialized unit has a spacer in between the pre-existing nut and the locking mechanism. By using this, the strings are sitting on the pre-existing nut and you can lock it from above that. And so it works out really, really well. I love this unit. I bought this guitar specifically for the unit. The story behind this guitar was that I have a Les Paul Custom Axcess, which I still do. That was my main guitar for years. The Les Paul Axcess line was a line offered by the custom shop that modernized the Les Paul. So it was a bit thinner. It's about 1/8 of an inch thinner, I think. They put in a belly carve, and they sculpted the neck heel so that you can get up to the upper frets with less resistance, and so thus the Axcess namesake. It also came with coil split capabilities, push-pull pots, and most of them had a Floyd Rose original unit on it. It made the Les Paul easier to play, lighter to hold, and it retained about 99% of the tone. But I played then last year for about 6 months my 64 SG reissue, and I just got so used to how an SG played. I got so used to the super thin body, the completely unfettered upper fret access, and how it looked, how it sounded. And I love the guitar. I love the SG so much. So I was just thinking to myself, well, I need to make a counterpart to that Les Paul Axcess. And so I was adamant in getting a SG Custom in ebony to match my Les Paul Custom, and to make it, like a partner or a sister guitar. I started out by getting a cheaper SG standard first, so I can test this Floyd Rose unit. The Floyd Rose unit proved to be an excellent unit. It worked out great. So I knew that it was time to then move up to an SG Custom. So that's what I did, and I haven't looked back since. I think this is one of the best guitars I've ever had. Most definitely one of the more comfortable guitars I played, and it really does everything. I as I mentioned, these pickups are so versatile, and with the coil split capabilities, I can do stuff like that in-between position on a Strat all the way to a roaring Les Paul. It does everything you need, and the gigs I play tend to be ones that last for 4 or 5 hours, and within a set, you're playing everything from country to funk to hip-hop to metal. So I needed a guitar that could do everything in a pinch. So in that 40-minute set, or however long it is, I don't have to switch guitars. And so this offers everything that I need to be able to do that. And beyond the versatility, SGs are lightweight, and they kind of hug right into your body. And so it's very comfortable to play for those long gigs. When I look for a guitar, I do look for beauty firstly, but then I look for comfort, playability. I look for reliability, and I look for versatility. And this guitar has everything that I need, really. The Floyd Rose unit is so great in keeping everything in tune, even if you're not using the bar. If you're bending hard or strumming it hard, because there's no friction point, everything is locked up. It stays in tune. And so it's really everything I've been wanting in a Swiss Army knife sort of guitar. The only thing I think I would try out that might take its place is maybe the SG Supreme. It had 24 frets, ebony fretboard, and a 2-piece maple top, AA flamed. And so it was a bit thicker. I'm very curious to see how that maple top affects the tone. And I think it's great to have 24 frets. If I ever get one, I'll make another video on that. But for now, this SG has been great, and it continues to be my main guitar. And I look forward to really kind of just aging it naturally and getting it played in. So thank you for sticking around and listening to this ramble. I hope you enjoy the jams before the video and the jam after the video. Please comment, I'd love to discuss more about guitars, more about this model. If I didn't unpack anything more that you wanted me to, put it down in the comments and I'll do my best to respond. I would really appreciate if you subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel out, especially me being sort of a newcomer in a lot of ways to YouTube. So I would really appreciate that if you will. Thanks again, and I look forward to making more of these, and hopefully I can get through all my guitars. I'm very passionate about these things, and I'm very excited to share all the specs and all the aspects of it with you guys. Thanks.